another 3 points.
We'll start with Stephen Down. What you like, Greg? If you could raise your hand, also wait for the mic.
Greg, what was the plan with Christian, regardless of the score, was to get him in around that 70th minute? And then what did you expect, or what did you hope the impact would be when he got out there?
It was, definitely part of the plan was, thinking about how much he can play at the high intensity that we needed in this game. And that's what we're, weighing all week. Christian's done a great job. When I spoke to him before the camp, his mindset was, I wanted to just come in and help the team. He knew where he was physically, but his focus was on coming in and helping the team be successful in this window. So part of his quality, part of what we know he has, is arriving in the penalty box. And, he does that really well. And this was another example of that, him arriving with speed and able to get the goal and really turn the game.
And we push now to your left.
Yeah, Greg, right here. We saw the shirt that Christian had on under his jersey, man in the mirror, seemed to be a reference to Ochoa's comments during the week. Did you also, it seemed like you had seen those comments as well. Is that something you guys talked about with the group, and just like the idea of earning Mexico's respect or feeling like you didn't have Mexico's respect?
Oh, we talked about this. I mean, this was yesterday's news, right? We talked about how we thought, they didn't give us enough respect and we had to go out and earn it. And I think we went out and earned it today.
We also may have heard that playing in the stadium at the end of the match. Man in the mirror, I think I heard that in the stadium at the game. We'll go to Grant Wall.
Greg, was there a point where in the second half the intensity was there, you were creating chances, but you were starting to potentially get worried that you weren't going to get the goal because it wasn't coming for a while?
I'm always worried, Grant. So yes, the answer is yes. I was thinking about it a little bit, and I was thinking how well we're playing, and it would have been a shame if we didn't win the game. And that was, as a coach, you're always concerned about that. But I think when we brought in Christian, it gave the team a boost, and it also, I think, put some fear into Mexico because they know his quality, and that it's so. Anytime we can bring in players like that and they can make an impact, it is a good thing for us.
Greg, you always pride yourself on your teams being able to get behind the opposition defense and being very effective from the wings. It seemed like Tim Weah in particular gave you precisely that tonight. Why was he so effective, and why was the whole team so effective in that regard?
With Tim, it's about mentality. When he has it in his mind and he's set on doing it, he can execute all day. And it's just about him focusing on how he's going to hurt opponents. He got the coach's man of the match today just because he didn't stop working, and he was causing them fits on that side of the field. Brendan, in my opinion, the first half was a little bit too central, attached to the center back, and we didn't really create those overloads on the wings like we would have hoped for. But both of the wingers, I think when Brendan, it's just his relentless pressing and never stopping, chasing every ball down. It's contagious. So Timmy played really well. It was good to see both of our wingers really executing the game plan.
Hey, Greg, to kind of follow up on that with Tim, you mentioned before the Costa Rica game that Tim came and sat with you for a one-on-one video session after Panama, that he was disappointed in his performance. Then he played well, got the winner against Costa Rica, and today was extremely confident. I wonder if you could speak to kind of that growth in an individual player, but maybe speaking to also the growth of this group that we're seeing game by game, that these young players are kind of learning in these big stages and kind of building on each performance to get better and turn in a confident performance like today.
Yeah, so basically you have two things working simultaneously. You have, the group, the collective, working on the collective and making sure everybody's tuned in and everyone's pulling for each other, and it's a brotherhood, and we understand really clearly who we are as a group. And then you have the individual development. And with Timmy, he's a guy that, suffered a horrendous injury. I mean, he had a really bad hamstring injury, and getting back from that was difficult. And now that he was back, especially with the national team, now it's bringing him to that rhythm, continue to develop him and talk to him about what the expectations are in this environment. But he's been open as anything. We do video sessions with him when he's in France. We had another meeting with him yesterday. I was going over a video. He wants to get it right, and he really feels part of this group now. And I think that's where things start to come together nicely.
Thanks, Michael, and thanks, Gregg. Congratulations. Zach Steffen tonight. I know we ask about the goalkeepers all the time, but he really tonight seemed to have quite a big game, big saves, assured all the way throughout. Did you just reflect on his performance? Thanks.
Yeah, I thought Zach was excellent tonight. Again, it was a difficult decision to start him over Matt because we think they're both great goalkeepers. But I think he showed why we did start him. He was good with his feet, good, made a big save in the beginning, was great on crosses today, really led the line from the back, and had a good performance.
Gregg, you have played a number of different players next to Miles as we've gone through this. Tonight you played Walker. What did you think of his performance and the effort he put in?
One of our concerns was the aerial duels. And, with Miles and Walker back there, you feel pretty secure. They won a number of headers on crosses, a number of headers on long balls, and it makes a big difference when you have guys that, you're confident they're going to win the ball. So Walker had a good game. Just about everyone, performed up to expectations and had good performances.
Gregg, you'll go to Jamaica with an extra day between games compared to the other windows, but you will lose Miles and Weston. Will you consider bringing other players in for that game?
We have. Yeah, we're working through it now. Nothing's been decided, but that is something that we've considered. And again, for us, it's about, how quickly can we get over this win and get over, by get back down to ground and get focused on what the next task is. Same thing when we lose a game, it's about how do we refocus and get that energy out. So for this, it's, we want to turn around and have a strong performance in Jamaica.
Great, congrats on the win. The high line is part of your game model, I know, and part of the pressing, but you did get exposed a little in the first half. Did you reconsider that, given the conditions, the slick pitch, the potential for catastrophe, I guess?
No, we didn't. I think it's the mentality of the group to be very aggressive. We knew we wanted to put Mexico on their heels. We know they're a good team, a well-coached team, and for us, it was about how can we disrupt them. And I think, we didn't want to show that sign of weakness by dropping off. We wanted to be aggressive and continue to press.
Gregg, I know that you've talked about a bunch of players and their performances, but I do want to touch on Yunus Musa today. What did you see out of him today? He looked like he was at another level, and he also looked really bought into this rivalry. What can you say about how quickly he's bought into it and his performance tonight?
Yunus was outstanding today. You see the quality, the bravery, the relentlessness. He just keeps going. I thought there were a number of fouls on him that they didn't call actually, but I think he had a really solid performance. He's fit into this group so well, and a lot of it has to do, or all of it has to do with him and his mindset. He's really focused on achieving a lot with this group, and he likes all of his teammates, and he's a good, open person that wants to succeed.
Thanks, Gregg. Congrats on the win. Before the game, there was talk about balancing the intensity of the occasion with kind of the need to maintain control and discipline and organization. How do you think the team handled the emotions of the night?
I think really well. When you look at the first half, we had 55% possession. I'm just looking at the pass, 260 passes, and that shows that the group was still poised and calm and ready to execute. Normally Mexico does a good job of keeping the ball, but for us to have to do that in the first half shows that the guys were focused on execution, both with the pressing and with the ball, and that's important. It's an emotional game. It's a game that has an intense rivalry. Again, we're just talking about the rivalry with Mexico's team, right? Not the country or not people, right? I think it's important just to acknowledge that we fiercely dislike Mexico's soccer team, right? And we're fierce competitors, and we want to win every time we're on the field. And it's nice to see that rivalry take place. Afterwards, you shake hands and you move on. And we have a lot of respect for them. They're a great team, and I'm sure they'll qualify for the World Cup.
Something else you'd like?
Hey, Greg. Christian shirt, Musa getting into the rivalry. A couple other guys were really kind of going at it. How important is it for you, this team, especially this young of a team, to develop that swagger, not just in the rivalry with Mexico, but as you're hopefully, advancing into a World Cup, you need that as well?
I think the way I would look at it is just the confidence and belief and expectation.